Right. Of course, we don't know what caused this fall, if there was some other medical emergency, if he
Right.
passed out or something and then fell, in which case the safety equipment designed to keep you from falling wouldn't really help. We see the Stokes basket now about to be lowered out over the edge. We know they've spent the last, at least 25 minutes securing first the victim to that basket and now securing the basket, and they're going to gingerly, I'm sure, move this out.
They wanted to keep him in that protected posture the entire time, stabilizing the spine, according to HFD, as they go through the process. And as we heard from Captain Roy Lozano, I mean, these are the best people in the business to do a rescue like this. They're trained for this. They're prepared for this. They've done this before. And it looks like they are calm and everything is under control at this point.
Mr. Neely, how often do crane crews have an opportunity to give firefighters access for training? Is it something that, I mean, clearly fire departments don't own cranes like this to train on them. So is there a coordination where they train together at any point?
Not that I'm aware of. Any kind of high-angle rope rescue is going to involve basically the same information that it would on a tower crane. It's really no different. I don't know of any towers that have been set up specifically for training needs, but as you can tell, these firemen are treating this just like they would any other high-altitude rescue, and I can't imagine that it would be any different than any other kind of tower or high tank or anything else.
And to remind our viewers, this is happening some 200 feet, which is about 20 floors above the ground, at least according to the Houston Fire Department. That's up there, and obviously safety is of the utmost concern. We could see for the first time in this shot what appeared to be at least one crew member from that site, one of the construction crews, and I think we're about to have the question answered about whether or not one of the firefighters is going to go down with the patient, because he's tied off and with that Stokes basket and going to do what he can
and the
along the way.
He does appear to have his eyes closed at this point. You can only imagine if he's conscious what could be going through his mind right now. And that, knowing the training of our men and women of HFD, that is a comforting image that I believe we're seeing right now, knowing that they are being lowered to the ground in that Stokes basket along with a highly trained professional from the HFD rescue team. Bill, I'm just curious, for most companies, do they have their own personal safety, private safety team, or do they often rely strictly on the Houston Fire Department and other departments, public departments, to help out in situations like this?
We, like most of the other crane companies in this area, we do have our own safety teams, but when we don't train ourselves in rescue simply because there's professionals such as these out there that can do such a better job than we can in response time, as well as ongoing training. It's something that requires resources and time to keep up abreast of all the new equipment, and you have to constantly train on this. It just wouldn't be feasible for most crane companies to have a rescue team in place when this is such a rare occurrence.
Right. If we could somehow, I don't know if it's possible, get a wider shot of that location just to give the viewers an idea of just how high in the air they were and what a dangerous operation this is, but we know that it's being done well and safely under the Houston Fire Department right now as we're watching this Stokes basket being lowered.
Can you tell us, Mr. Neely, who is, how often, say, the city or perhaps the county is out inspecting sites like this? I know that from the business standpoint, any business that does this doesn't want to get their employees hurt, so safety is a top priority. How close is that coordination as far as being inspected by cities and following through those procedures?
The crane businesses, you're probably well aware, we've been under a lot of scrutiny for the last at least 10 years. That it's been really coming on strong. The laws have changed. There's been a whole lot more in the process of actually owning cranes, renting cranes. The entire thing has changed dramatically. So the inspection process is much greater. And I mean, I couldn't put a figure. I can't tell you how many times people go out or whatnot.
Sure.
But there are inspections that go in place to handle this. I mean, from what I see, the crane is operating, is doing what it's supposed to do.
Okay,
I'm sure the crane's inspected. I'm sure that it's a safe site.
Just reminding our viewers right now of what we're seeing in these live pictures. This is in the Galleria area at Post Oak and Garrettson. You are watching what appears to be the final moments, which is absolutely good news, of this rescue of this crane operator who was at this condo complex under construction.
Suffered some sort of fall within the inner workings of the crane underneath the area where the crane operator sits and operates the crane, and as near as we can tell is quite injured. We don't know the extent of this man's injuries, but we do know that the Houston Fire Department responded immediately to the scene, stabilized him, and has spent some time making sure they have a plan and a way to get him safely to the ground.
And he is now on the ground, on ground level, being untied in this Stokes basket and assessed by members of the Houston Fire Department. And as we heard from Captain Roy Lozano earlier, this man who you see right here is absolutely the first priority. They are going to safely check him out there on the ground, and we're assuming get him to an ambulance into the nearest hospital so he can be taken care of right away.
Mr.